This is a video about how I would have made this video. A little confusing, but you'll figure it out. To make a video, you need lights, camera, sound, action. First thing to set up is lights. Yes, lighting is important because it keeps the subject well lit. Your camera is also going to thank you because it means your camera has to do less work and you bring out more of the colors. Now, generally a lighting setup is to have the actor or subject here and then two lights bang, bang there. And usually a light above or a backlight, but because there's a wall here, that doesn't really matter. When it comes to lighting kits, I'd say just go for a softbox kit you can find online for about $100. And while they're not necessarily a must-have, I would absolutely recommend you buy a $100 softbox kit before you spend 10 times that on a camera. Now, speaking of the camera. Now, the camera is both important and unimportant. And what I mean by that is it's important in the sense that it's literally the lens in which we view the videos through, but it's unimportant in the sense that without the right framing, lighting, sound, and talent in front of the camera, you could be filming on an 8K RED camera and your video is going to come out garbage. So for camera settings, I shoot 1080p, 24 frames per second with 1/50 shutter speed. I usually keep my ISO between 200 and 800. Generally just try to keep the ISO under 1600. Now I film on a Canon 80D and I have a Canon 650D to spare, but I would recommend if you're wanting to get into it and just start making videos, you can even use an iPhone. It doesn't have to be a DSLR camera. It can just be a simple piece of whatever can actually film you. Now you will need a tripod or a pile of books or something to stack it on, but the camera itself isn't incredibly important. Now, I've got a few microphones. I have two Rode VideoMic Pros, two Rode SmartLav Pluses, and a Blue Yeti USB microphone. Generally, these are good for vlogging, these are good for faraway shots, and this is good for podcasting. However, because Rode's new VideoMic Pro has this really neat aux-in plug rather than a built-in cord, what I've been doing lately is attaching the mic to a boom, threading it through a swivel grip head clamp, and having it sit above me and then running a 6-meter aux cord from the mic into my camera to capture nice, clean audio. Now, of course, this is a bit of overkill, especially if you're just starting out. You don't need a setup this professional. This setup basically does a little bit better than putting the microphone on top of the camera, and that setup does a little bit better than using the on-camera microphone or even just using the microphone on your iPhone or whatever else. The reason I do this is just because I want that little extra quality in audio. Next up is the action. Now, this is what people come to the video for. That's the you part of YouTube. People want to watch someone who's not boring, not fake. They want someone real and honest. And to do that, you've got to be authentic and a little bit charismatic. Keeping people watching and garnering an audience on YouTube is the hardest part, something I still haven't figured out, even though I'm trying every week. Now, if you're looking at tips as to how to be interesting or how to come off good in front of the camera, my best advice would be to practice. Watch yourself as well, watch over the takes, see where you can be better, see where you can cut down, be paced better, talk more clearly, talk more interestingly. Definitely try to cut down on your ums and ahs. In editing, don't over edit, don't cut every single breath and pause because it ends up being choppy and quick and people don't quite like that style. Don't make it too flowy and too long-winded, but try to keep things short, sweet, well explained, and just charismatic and look at the camera. Don't look at the little side monitor, look at the camera. That's a big tip as well. Engage with the audience. In the planning process, write down a few job points. Write down a whole script if you want to, but whatever it is, practice what you've written. Try and get it right. Don't throw out random mumbo jumbo jargon and then cut the best bits and have 100 cuts in a video. Best thing you could do is if you try to rehearse the line, get it right, and even if the video ends up taking 20 minutes and you get 4 minutes out of it, that's still gonna be worth it. That happens to me all the time. This video is what, 11 minutes so far, and we're only like 2 minutes into the actual video, but you take longer cuts and you get a better video out of it in the end. Next, we go into the bane of my life, and that is the post-production. Oh, editing. Now this year I've really learned that putting lots of time into pre-production largely reduces the amount of time you spend filming and editing. Who knew planning was so damn helpful, huh? So whenever I plan a video, I write down the script, go over it once or twice to tighten up the script as well as to practice it. I write down all the shots and angles that I might want to get, set up my cameras, I set up my mics, my lights, I film the video. Once it's filmed, I get my SD card, put it into my computer, transfer all the footage into a folder on my computer, one specifically for the project on my SSD. Then I copy my footage into the right folder on the SSD, open Premiere. Once I open Premiere, I dump all my footage into a timeline. Now once my sequence is created, I dump all the footage into it in chronological order and make sure to make my sequences 1920 by 960. That's a small personal touch that I do. It basically makes the video 2:1 instead of 16:9 and just gives a slightly more cinematic look to the videos, plus it takes up more screens on taller phones like the iPhone X and the Galaxy S9. And then I start going through and cutting. I usually do about 2 or 3 cuts of a video. I run through the whole video and do the base cut where I cut out all the mistakes and pauses, and basically then I have a working cut. I'll go through a second time, feel the pace and tighten up the video, delete any clips if they don't fit in well, as well as adding photos or overlay. And then I'll go through a third time, adding in music, color grading, adjusting the audio clips where it's needed. And once I'm done, I then have a finished video. I put it to export with these settings and set it to export in Adobe Media Encoder, just because I find that that's faster, and I let it do its thing. A couple of quick tips for editing is to pay attention to pacing. Try leaving in a few pauses here and there. You don't have to cut out every single breath and pause. Try leave it in, try take them out, see what flows better, see what feels more natural, interesting, and real. Well, there you go, a little quick tutorial on how do I make a video start to finish. It's pretty simple, really, not much to it. A lot of it really does come down to the ideas you have, what you want to tell, what story you want to tell to the people, and your ability to tell it. I honestly spend a ton of time in post-production. I don't know if I made that quite clear in this video, but it's really just long periods of time of me watching myself, editing it, cutting it, and then watching, you know, again, just more polished. But anyway, let me know if you enjoyed this video. Check out all these links as always, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I will hope to see you in the next one. For now, goodbye.